I was that kid who was picked last every single time when we had to make teams in high school. And then at age 22, diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, and everything changed. And then again, when I look back at the last 15 years, I learned so much from the obstacles that I chose, but it's the obstacle that I didn't choose that gave me the strength to go for my dreams. And 15 years later, I would never give diabetes back, even if I could. And of course, there's things that I don't like about it, but what I would never give back is that concept and notion of a vehicle. And that's the first thing the obstacle taught me, to switch my beliefs and to turn the obstacle into a vehicle of growth, a vehicle of self-exploration. And the disease taught me that the obstacle and the vehicle is never good or bad, that the power is in the driver's end. So if you don't choose the vehicle, you can choose where you're going to drive it. And even better, the bigger the obstacle, the more powerful that vehicle is going to be, and the more opportunities and the further you will be able to go into fulfillment. I'll never forget the 2 months that it took to climb Mount Everest. I have amazing memories from it, but to my surprise, the most powerful step of the journey was not the last step. The most powerful step was the first step. See, I had been dreaming about climbing Mount Everest for years. Ever since I was a little boy, I was reading books about Mount Everest. I was watching documentaries about Mount Everest. I inspired to climb it. I was so inspired by everybody that went. And I realized that when I took that first step above base camp, the dream was mine. With that first step alone, I was climbing Mount Everest. So that's the power of the first step, to commit to something today that might not be possible tomorrow, but to trust that you will find the strength to make it happen. And trust the obstacle. Trust that if you're clear on the destination, the obstacle itself might just show you the way. So you make the obstacle a vehicle, you take that first step, and then what? You dance with the obstacle. You don't try to beat it. You don't try to overcome it. Nobody overcomes Mount Everest. Nobody beats Mount Everest. You dance with the mountain. And you take the obstacle by the end, and you take it with you. One of the most powerful experiences with my disease was to find out that it would never go away. So for some years at the beginning, I tried to be stronger than it. I tried to beat it, but that was just a very exhausting way to live my life. And the moment I realized that if I made it an ally, if I was using it to produce positive energy, see, resistance creates energy. That's one of the most basic laws in physics. So I had to apply that to my disease. The run was not a fundraiser. All we wanted to do is to allow people to get opportunities to move. I wanted everybody to own the run across Canada and everybody to be a part of it. So on February 2nd, 2014, I stood on a starting line. And friends were there, family was there, media was there. It was so exciting. Best of all, 20 kids also living with type 1 diabetes who were going to run the first kilometer of that historical journey with me. And everybody was excited. But I remember standing on that starting line thinking, this is a bad idea. This is going to hurt a lot and soon and for a long time. And I was scared. I was totally scared. And somehow that felt exactly the same way of what I felt when I was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes. And I had to go back to another very important lesson why I'm glad I got type 1 diabetes. The very nature of the disease makes it impossible to perfectly manage it. Therefore, the focus needs to be on learning. I have to focus on learning so that I can improve my management. I have to stop chasing trophies and medals, but instead create, nurture, and sustain growth habits. The learning there was that success is only just a point in time. It never lasts for very long. That's an event. I stood on the top of Mount Everest for 5 minutes. So to create and to reward people, and that's something that I even transfer in the business world now, instead of just rewarding people on numbers, we must learn to reward our employees based on the creation of growth habits that support the true goal and mission of the enterprise. When we approached Vancouver, BC, when we approached the finish line, things had changed. People felt different. People still lived with diabetes. But what they thought was possible had changed. We did not tell them what to do. We did not share best practices with them. We just created something they could believe in. And that's been the most rewarding experience of my life. Thank you.